Who was this Klaus Fuchs? Communist, physicist, potential spy. What motivated him? Where did this amalgam of technical genius and ideology come from? The last of those questions is the only one with a direct, if simplistic, answer. Klaus Fuchs came from Eisenach, Germany, a small town that pulsed with 800 years of history and culture. High above the market square that young Klaus crossed daily on his way to school was the Wartburg, an 11th century fortification. A symbol of protection and stability on a 1,350-foot rocky prominence, it had been Martin Luther's refuge from Charles V in 1521 when he translated the New Testament into German. In the center of the town was the birthplace of Johann Sebastian Bach. Klaus's own birth, on December 29, 1911, was actually in Rüsselsheim, just south of Frankfurt, where his father, Emil, was the rector of the red brick Lutheran church in the middle of town. From the family's thatched-roof cottage, Emil penned his weekly sermons, as well as articles for its evangelical community newsletter. On March 3, 1918, with the World War in its third year, he wrote one thanking God for Germany's new treaty with Russia that removed the Eastern threat. He awaited the collapse of England, a robber nation, he called it, so that a free Germany with a spiritual life of such power and purity, a state life of such justice, could emerge to create world peace. Like many Germans, he was still optimistic that the long war would soon end, with Germany victorious. That summer, as fresh troops from America joined the battle and the Allies began turning back the last German offensives, the family moved to Eisenach. The church had assigned Emil a working-class parish drawn from the automobile industry there. He rented a house high on a hill overlooking the city, close to the Wartburg, with a garden and enough space for their goats. Despite the humiliation of Germany's surrender 6 weeks before Klaus's 7th birthday, the Kaiser's abdication, and the political and economic chaos that followed, the family still managed to enjoy their new home. The children celebrated holidays with friends. Emil wrote a play they performed at Christmas. Little Klaus made a gizmo from a small piece of wood and gave a serious lesson to his class on his technique. Klaus and his sister, Christelle, 2 years younger, grew into playmates, exploring a fantasy world from a big gall at the base of a backyard tree that transformed into a horse, for her, or a camel, for him, and on a sunny afternoon offered a ride of imagination across the countryside. In quiet hours, he taught her to read. She watched as he built mazes and running wheels for his pet mice. His concern for animals led him to become a dedicated vegetarian at an early age. At 12, he became so seriously anemic that his parents sent him to a clinic in Switzerland for a cure. Emil transferred his older son, Gerhard, to the Odenwaldschule in August 1923. A sylvan oasis that combined theology, socialism, and educational reform, the boarding school was founded by an imposing, tall, slim man with a full black beard and intense, deep-set, piercing eyes named Paul Gahib. Over time, Gahib and his wife became close to the whole Fuchs family, who, one by one or in pairs, escaped there for rest and recovery, especially Emil, who often sought respite from general life. Klaus loved his visits. But little by little, as Emil recalled, political developments cast their shadows over cheerful work and family life. All over Germany, angry and unemployed veterans rallied and sometimes rioted in the streets, protesting the ineffectual socialist government that had replaced the empire and the supposed stab in the back by Jews and communists that the right wing said accounted for Germany's defeat, and after such sacrifice. German soldiers had drowned in the mud and blood of the trenches, while civilians had suffered extreme privations. especially during the so-called turnip winter of 1916 to 1917, when there was little else to eat. Germans had made ersatz coffee out of tree bark, and joked that they were forced to eat ersatz cats and mice. The Quakers set up feeding stations for the severely malnourished children. Emile wandered dead-tired in villages, going to friends of a cousin to buy food for his family. He kept them fed, but he could do little about the lack of heating fuel during the bitter cold.